Superman early tracking has been released. And also, we know when post-production for Superman will be done. So let's get right into this. So, the first topic is that Superman is early tracking to earn 154 to 175 million on its domestic box office opening weekend. So I guess the first thing about this is this, just for context, if you don't know. So some people are asking this in the, I saw in the tweets and stuff. They're like, how do you figure this out? Because if it's early tracking, like first of all, there's no tickets out. There's no pre-sales or anything. That doesn't happen until right later on June. That's the rumor date. So they're like, how's this even possible? How are you guys getting these numbers? And also, you know that analysts are the ones who are forming these numbers. Buzz is priced based off all of this hype, buzz, social media, I guess engagement, interactions, etc. It's got to be based off that, just the amount of engagement there is, impressions, whatever. I don't know, but definitely just based off that. I don't know how much is trending. They're analysts, so they, obviously they know what they're doing. So, but then again, you got to taste with the, take these, at a grain of salt. Because it's early tracking. It's not even based off tickets. So just factor that in. But, with that aside, 154 to 175 million, that's insane. Because you might think, okay, that's international. No. This is not worldwide. This is literally for the domestic box office. Okay? Domestic. That is actually crazy. Because if we're talking about just domestic alone, bro. Okay, so just for comparison, I know they're two different movies, like completely different genres, but I made a review on Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, and pretty much, long story short, that movie, it opened close to, it was 190 million worldwide, and look at this, Superman alone, like I know Superman's bigger than, like Mission Impossible, the franchise, but still, you get what I'm trying to say, like, that's insane. It's almost made entirely of what Mission Impossible. It's just domestically. That's what they're saying from the early tracking. Like, that's actually insane. That's crazy. And if we're talking about like internationally, what can it make internationally, bro? Superman's a huge IP, even internationally. Everywhere across the world. I think internationally is a surefire. Like I'd be surprised if it was worst case scenario any lower than like 100 million, like lowest, honestly, for international. I'm gonna say 100. Okay, this might sound crazy. I'm gonna say 150, around the same, or 200 million between there for international. So let's say you take the 100 and the lowest one, 150. Okay, or so let's round to 150. Okay, just for basic maths, that's like over 300 if we're going by my international prediction as well of 150 million. That's over 300 million. Like that's close to like 330, I think. That's absolutely insane for an opening weekend. Absolutely insane. Because what was it, Lilo and Stitch? They had a really good opening weekend, and I think theirs was like 275 million, and that was really, really good. So if Superman crossed 300 million in their box office opening weekend, bro, worldwide that is, whew, we're gonna have to start some conversations there. But this tweet also has more information. It says that potentially it would be just a domestic box office opening alone. If it was this, would be the highest of 2025. Potentially the highest of 2025, which I said just explained prior. Like, it's actually insane. It's legit insane. Because like I said, movies are really out here making just this, but like worldwide, including international. Whereas if Superman were to decide this is domestic. It's not even international. Yeah, included. So absolutely insane. And also potentially becoming by far the biggest ever for Superman film. I don't think many people know this, but obviously I can't really speak on like the older Superman movies, so I can only speak on Man of Steel. But Man of Steel, if I'm not mistaken, that made, what was it? I might be wrong, but I think that made like 570 to like 670 or something like that. It was I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. This Superman movie is literally about to just make, I don't know, like almost half of that. Just opening weekend. Which is absolutely, like, and sorry, that was for his entire theatrical, run. That's what it was. So opening weekend for that movie, I don't know what it was exactly, but I'm guessing it was probably like, just 150? Actually, no. What would it be? Actually, I don't know, because it was different back then. That was like 2013 as well. I'm not sure what the opening was for that, but if it just ended up having, like, it just ended up only making, what was it, like, say 600 or something like that, close there. The opening weekend must have been, I don't know what it was, maybe 200, a little bit less, 150, I don't know, But regardless, it's still a decent amount. But just from this alone, you're seeing this is why it's gonna be the biggest, or potentially the biggest ever. Because if it opens like 300 million worldwide, like that's insane. And then we know James Gunn, his Guardians of the Galaxy movie, that movie initially underperformed right in the box office, and then it picked up the following weeks, and then it just had legs, and it just absolutely went insane for like weeks. Like that's why it made like, what was it, over 800 million, close to 900 million, I'm pretty sure. It went absolutely crazy. So if this movie has legs, like this is kind of showing me that the Superman movie, like obviously we knew there was hype, but damn, there's a lot of hype here, and it seems like it could have good legs, honestly. And if it has good legs, oh my god, it's gonna be some nasty discussions going on Twitter. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be insane. But yeah, let's talk about the next part, which is that James Gunn's Superman will be completely finished post-production next Friday, 35 days before release. And it says industry insiders note this is a sign of confidence and satisfaction from the studio on the final product. So you don't know, there's like a lot of conversation going on. I made a video about it yesterday actually, about how they're pretty much just long story short changing up stuff from the movie. And yeah, pretty much it wasn't anything like crazy, but it was just like taking out some jokes from movies and just like some minor stuff overall, like in the grand scope of things. It's just some minor stuff, change the tone pretty much. But yeah, some people are panicking, honestly. But in this case, like there's nothing to worry about, because if the movie's gonna get done 35 days before release, we're good. And some people, if you don't know, movies usually, like for example Marvel movies, those are always going down to the wire. They literally add in like the post-credits from Thunderbolts. Like Thunderbolts is like more polished and stuff. Like they actually took their time with that, so they didn't really do much extra stuff for that movie, like drastic reshoots. Nor Superman. Superman didn't have to do any like reshoots, like drastic ones like that either, from at least what I know, which is also a good sign. But usually, like with a Marvel movie, for example, they do like Ant-Man Quantumania. Like I know that movie's absolute bomb, so like it's not really a good comparison. But just for the idea, that movie had reshoots like 3 weeks before it came out, like major reshoots, and it wasn't anywhere close to being done. I think the entire third act was reshot. Like usually movies, they're not finished, like finalized, like the superhero ones, till like what, a week or 2 weeks out. So the fact this movie's done over a month before is good. But also I'm worried, I'm not gonna lie, I'm worried that's gonna be like a big leak coming out somehow. Because I wonder if they're gonna do, I don't think they're gonna do another test screening. Especially the final cut. Like there's no way they're gonna do that. Like obviously there's no way. But with the assembly cut that they were using, that was pretty much close to the final product, if I'm not wrong. So it should be very similar. Yeah, they're probably just fixing some things, reworking it around. Because what I heard about the movie is like it's not like the typical like narrative type of structure. The movie structure is different, which is why that whole editor thing happened as well. But still, with that being said, it's not like they're like reshooting anything. They're literally just like tweaking things, changing the positions of them, maybe removing some stuff. Some like literally like some like basic stuff. I don't know. It's nothing like crazy. And also, the second part is that industry insiders note this is a sign of confidence and satisfaction from the studio on the final product. Yeah, for sure. Because obviously, we heard that, like, this was a few weeks ago, that Warner Brothers, I guess higher ups, probably the executives, they weren't happy. It was kind of mixed on the Superman test screenings. And with that, obviously, James Gunn had to, they probably squeezed him, for being honest. Unfortunately, they probably squeezed him to make certain changes. And it might be, maybe he made the changes, those tonal changes, because of them. Who knows? That's completely like just speculation, but that could be the case, because they just wanted the movie. They're like, this is too jokey, you know what I mean? So I'll just take some of the stuff out. So that could be it as well. But obviously now they're happy with it as well, which kind of makes me think maybe they did get him to remove it, because obviously if they still didn't like the movie, it would still not be done. James would still be in the editing bay and just trimming stuff up, whatever, doing whatever, fixing the movie still, like after this. Next Friday, man. Next Friday. It's crazy. That's absolutely insane. This is really good. I'm not gonna lie. This is very good news. And like James Gunn had everything planned out, like outlined properly. And that goes to show the just properly planning. It's a big part. Yeah, this is very good news. Like I said, yeah. Obviously, the studio's confident in it. Their notes got applied or whatever, and they like the version of the movie's at now. And then the next part is kind of like, this is kind of a fault from yesterday. and that is that David Fleming is not replacing John Murphy as composer. He was brought in as an additional composer. So, did I talk about in my video? I might not talk about it in my video. Maybe I forget. But pretty much, there's this whole thing with the composer. It was apparently about them like firing their composer, like a second composer, something along the lines of that. Something out the composer, and yeah, people were going crazy about that. It turns out the main one did not get fired, or the one they just brought another one. Because it was being reported that like they got rid of the composer, brought a new one, and then they had to redo like the score for certain scenes because they were moving it around and like cutting stuff out. Which that part I think could be true. Now it's confirmed that no, they just brought in another composer. That's probably just due to like, some scores that like they probably were tweaking whatever for the scenes, just changing them around structure wise. So nothing to worry about there. The next thing is that Superman just had 3 days of pickups in Atlanta, but no major reshoots. Pretty much, like I said, these are just like where you're filming like little scenes, stuff just so that the movie flows better, structured better. For example, there could be times where you cut from one scene to the next, and it's just like awkward. It's just like, sometimes when you're watching like a movie and it's like the editing is like terrible. It's just like really bad cuts, and then it just like doesn't make sense. It's just awkward. That's pretty much what they're doing. The whole point in doing pickups is to just, at least reduce that. Ideally, remove the awkwardness, but, at least tone it down a bit as much as you can. So it's like filming some minor shots. It's not reshoots are when you're doing significant changes, like reshoot, like literally reshooting the movie. Okay, like it says in the word, you're doing significant changes, like shooting like a whole bunch of like sequences again, like major stuff. Okay, like the Marvel type. Okay, that's not the case here. These are just like minor stuff, minor scenes. That's why it's only 3 days. And yeah, like it says here, that's why I never believe everything online. Take everything with a grain of salt. Everything. And the next thing, this is good news to end off the video. James Gunn just helped Real Outreach with at DC Films News Assist hit its goal to provide Superman screenings to kids in need. And here you can see this is on Threads. Yeah, of course, James Gunn loves Threads. But DC Films News said, "Look up, we soared past $4,000 in donations. Help Outreach reach $5,000 by the weekend so deserving kids can see Superman on the big screen. Be a hero and donate here." And it's GoFundMe link to just pretty much support kids, like funding kids, supporting them so that they can watch Superman, which is a good thing to do. It's a great, nice thing to do. And James Gunn responded and said, "You got it, guys. Just donate it so you made the goal. Hope you all have fun." So they had 4,000 and they needed 1,000 more to get to the $5,000 goal. And James Gunn did it. He donated the 1K himself. So, W-Mans, James Gunn. Okay, I know James Gunn's been getting, I personally like James Gunn, but I know he's been getting, honestly quite a bit of flack. But man, if anyone tries to hate on this, let's stop it, okay? James Gunn took a big W here, okay? Big W by donating the 1K, getting the goal, reaching the goal there. Some kids are going to be able to see the movie, which is great. Like Superman, he's literally that type of hero. Like this is such a Superman thing. This is perfect. I'm not gonna lie. This is actually perfect. This is like a Superman thing. Like if you saw also that video that they released today with David, like the behind the scenes with him and like the kids, just wholesome stuff, like literally Superman type stuff as well. So this is great. And then also here you can see the donation, like the GoFundMe stuff here. The donations going in, and you see James Gunn top donation 1,000. So obviously stuck to his word. Obviously I don't know why people why would he even lie about that to begin with? Anyways, James Gunn did a good thing there. But yeah, let me know what you think down below about all this news. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next one. Peace.